Today's recipe is all about my hometown, and that's why it's called Around Town Seafood Wraps. Now, we're actually going to go on what's called a scavenger hunt, and I have my first clue. My first clue says, this is where it all began. Probably where I was born. I've lived in Newnan, Georgia my entire life, my 40 plus years, and we'll just leave it at plus. So let's go to where I was first born, where it all began. Okay, here we are at Newnan Hospital. This is where life began for me. And over my right shoulder, your left shoulder, I think I see our first ingredient and our next clue. Let's go see. Okay, it is flour tortilla shells, and it says, clue number 2, now go to the middle of town. There's a north, south, east, or west, and west is circled, which happens to be my last name. Middle of town, that would be our courthouse, our famous courthouse. West side, I'm assuming. Let's go see. Here we are at our next clue, which is downtown Newnan, center of Newnan, our beautiful restored courthouse. And I found our next clue and our next ingredient. Our ingredient is Old Bay garlic and herb seasoning. The clue is go find the sign that tells what we are famous for. We are famous for our beautiful antebellum homes. So let me go find the sign that says City of Homes, Newnan, Georgia. See you there. Here we are at our next stop, which is the Carnegie Building, which is also where the sign is that says the City of Homes. I found our next ingredients and our next clue. Our next 2 ingredients is a crab meat and also a shrimp in a can. And the clue says, next we need to find the water fountain to find the star of the show. We only have 2 water fountains in Newnan, and one of them is fairly large. So let's go to the city park and see if that's where our next ingredient is. Here we are at our next stop, which is our beautiful water fountain at our city park. And I found our next ingredient, which is our Philadelphia cream cheese, chives, and onion. I found our next clue, and it says, now that we have it all, go to where you receive the most calls. Well, that would be my office. I get multiple phone calls all day long. So I'll see you at my office. As you can see, we made it to our last stop, which is my office. This has been my home for the last 12 years, but now with that, we've collected all of our cooking items on our scavenger hunt today around my beautiful town, which is Newnan, Georgia. Now I need to show you how to assemble all this to make our Around Town Seafood Wraps. So what I've done is, I have a 4-ounce container of a tiny shrimp that we have here that we bought at the grocery store that I've drained really well, that I'm going to dump in here in the bowl. Next, I have a 4-ounce container of a crab meat that we bought also that I've drained really good. Okay, next I have a 1/4 of a teaspoon of an Old Bay. This is the garlic and herb seasoning. Make sure you get the garlic and herb, but of course you can use whichever, but this is just the flavors that I like. So we're going to sprinkle those in. Then we have our star of the show, which is our Philadelphia cream cheese, which is the chives and onion. This is what's going to make it so good. This is going to bind all of our ingredients together. So let's mix the whole 8 ounces. And we're basically just going to mix this together really good. And then we're going to roll these up into our flour tortilla shells and then cut them in half. And then we're going to serve those as an appetizer. So let's get this going really good here. And like I said, these are the tiny shrimp, so there's no need to chop anything at all. They're small enough that, like I said, they're tinier than a bite size, so it's not a problem. I'm going to finish getting this mixed up, and then we're going to come back. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we're going to come back and I'm going to show you how to assemble those on our flour tortillas. So come right back. Welcome back. Okay, we've got all of our ingredients mixed together, well incorporated. Now I'm going to show you how I'm going to roll these up to make these the actual wrap part of our seafood. So I've taken a flour tortilla shell, and this is the medium size here. You don't want the real big ones. And I'm going to spread a thin layer of our seafood mixture onto our flour tortilla shells. We're going to leave about a 1/2 inch margin around the outside of the flour tortillas. And like I said, you don't want to put this on too thick because we're going to roll this up like a pinwheel. Let's get a little bit more here. These are very, very easy to make. And after we get them rolled up, we're going to put a saran wrap over them really well, and we're going to refrigerate them for about 30 minutes. We're just going to get them, we're going to chill everything really good, kind of bind it together. All right, like I said, here we go. As you can see, I've left about a 1/2 inch margin around the flour tortilla shell with our seafood mixture. So then what we're going to do is we're going to take it and start rolling it up just like a pinwheel. Rolling it kind of tight. Okay, and we're going to pretend that we have already refrigerated this one just so I can show you what it's going to look like when you cut into it. We're going to take the ends off because those are usually not as full as we would like for them to be. Because you want to make sure the whole thing, you get plenty of seafood when you bite into it because these are so good. Okay, and just take and cut about 1 inch margin. It was what you want to do. Cut those in. I've already got a few started here. Let's finish cutting this one just a little bit more here. These are so easy, even though they haven't even been refrigerated yet. You really could go ahead and serve them right now, but I recommend that you chill them just a little bit. They just taste better, I think. But see how easy they're cutting for me? You can smell the Old Bay seasoning. You can smell the garlic, the onions and chives that's in the Philadelphia cream cheese, which, like I said, this is what's binding this whole ingredient together. But I hope you've enjoyed the scavenger hunt today and me showing you just a little bit of where I live, telling you a little bit about my hometown and the beautiful place that I live in. But I hope more than anything that you will try these all around town seafood wraps.